ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Monday Night Football overtime. Seahawks, Giants. Whew. The score, I don't think, really indicates the kind of thorough ass whooping that took place tonight. And honestly, this is the score that I thought the Commanders should have had against the Bills, 23-3, right? If not for the turnovers. The Giants, they didn't turn it over 5 times. They did surrender 11 sacks, right? But they didn't have the 5 turnovers that the Commanders had last week against the Bills. So that one got out of control. But I don't think the score really indicates the thoroughness of this ass whooping that took place tonight. The Giants continue to be a poverty franchise in terms of points. We call them points poor. And I tried to start a foundation on their behalf. They did not take kindly to my charity. I was trying to be nice. They thought I was trying to be funny. I was trying to help. And that's sometimes I don't understand how my kindness can be misconstrued for somehow trying to be funny. I was trying to genuinely help them. A wise man once said, yo, if I can help, let me help. And I felt like I was in a position to be able to donate a few points. And I went to Dallas and I said, hey, you can spare a couple, man. Philly, come on now. Don't be stingy, man. Let's keep it real, partner. Give to the needy. Ribs is touching over here. Don't make the Giants wait. And LB was like, bro, I ain't got nothing to spare. Clearly, they didn't have anything to spare. I said, let me just get a field goal. They needed that field goal against Washington on Sunday. So he was like, I can't give you nothing. I don't blame him. Bad dog, he was searching for the Commanders' offense with his son last week. What he should have been doing was looking for his offense. Take ballhead Fred over there, right? With the head that just got all kinds of beads of sweat just percolating on top of his dome piece, trying to figure out how to get Daniel Jones to actually look like a damn NFL quarterback and his funky-ass offensive line. And I don't want to hear shit about the offensive line. Because the Seahawks offensive line might have been worse than yours, patchwork-wise. You know what that's called? It's called being a damn offensive play caller. It's your job to alleviate the pressure off of a funky offensive line. It's your job to get the ball out of your quarterback's hands. It's your job to make sure that you set up an offensive attack that gives your quarterback a fighting chance. If you believe in him, if you believe he's worth $160 billion, if you believe he's worth 40 a pop, money, 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 money. Boy, Daniel Jones turned back into Daniel Jones. We got a break from it last year. Daniel Jones morphed into Eli Manning last year somehow. Well, more like Vanilla Vic, because Eli won't never run it nowhere. Yeah, Daniel Jones was killing people with his legs last year. And then making all the right little throws. Everything was underneath, though. That's why I laughed at Bad Dog when he posted some statistic about, highest completion percentage with X amount of yards rushing. I'm like, bro, your mans ain't even throwing the ball 5 yards down the field. What are we talking about here? Stop it. Now you're seeing the shit. They said something about him not attempting a pass more than 7 yards down the field. Like, what are we talking about here? Seriously. So Daniel Jones morphed back into Daniel Jones, and Brian Daboll morphed into, you guessed it, Joe Judge. Remember that first year Joe Judge had everybody believing? Now, this is a little extra because they went to the playoffs and they won a playoff game. Joe Judge never. He could never. But he looking real Joe Judge-ish right now. And I'm so glad Daniel Jones fooled those boys last year. I mean, he duped them. Everybody's got a price. I love it because I hate the Giants organization. I love their fans, man. Their fans are some of the best in the NFL. I can't stand the organization. I can't stand their ownership group. I can't stand the Maras. This couldn't happen to a better ownership group. You dirty sons of a bitches. Oh, this is beautiful. Anyway, enough of the Giants. We'll come back to them. Okay, I had enough fun at their expense tonight. Let's get to the Seahawks because they did the ass kicking tonight. To the victors go the spoils. They're 3-1 too, just in case you forgot. It's a 3-1 ball club. Now, I still think they have some issues to clean up themselves because with the performance that they put forth tonight, this should have been, 41-3. This should have been 37-3. This should have been 34-3, not 24-3. Like, keep in mind, before the pick six, if the Giants just kick a field goal, we got a one-score ball. Like, don't lose sight of the fact that the Giants were one play away from making this a one-score ball game. Okay? It got to a point where, the broadcast team was talking about everything but the game. And it got to the part of the game where they were making jokes and they were trying to fill the time and trying not to get people to turn it off. But at one point in the fourth quarter, we were one play away, whether it was a field goal or a Daniel Jones touchdown pass or a Matt Breida touchdown run or a Brightwell run for a touchdown, whatever the case may be, we were one play away from the Giants cutting this shit to a one-score game. And then the wheels fell off after Daniel Jones threw that pick six. What a game by Devin Witherspoon. And there were so many Seahawks fans that had asked me about Witherspoon and whether the Seahawks made the right selection. And he wasn't my favorite corner in the draft, but he was one of my favorite corners in the draft because of his physicality, right? Because you couldn't look at another corner at the top tier of this draft and say, hey, he does the things that Devin Witherspoon does. You might be able to say, hey, this guy has better coverage skills, this guy has better ball skills, but you can't say this guy's more of a football player than Devin Witherspoon. That's why the Seahawks fell in love with him. And the thing that I questioned with Devin Witherspoon to the Seahawks was this don't even fit Pete Carroll's MO. Pete like him tall, Pete like him long, pause, and Pete like him physical. Now, he's got the physical part down, check. But he ain't tall, and he don't have long limbs, right? So I was like, does this even fit Pete's MO? But Pete was like, I see a football player right here, man. Man's first night playing in the slot, and we saw him do this at Illinois a little bit. He played inside a little bit. They blitzed the draws off the Giants tonight, and they blitzed Devin Witherspoon. This man, first time playing in the slot, and I think he had 2 sacks and about probably 2 more hurries of Daniel Jones on the night. And then the pick six. I mean, he was everywhere. Then he had that ferocious hit in the hole on Kenny Brightwell. What? I had to even tweet out about that one, like, yo, Devin Witherspoon, good googly muggly. Devin Witherspoon, what in the hell are we doing right now? Yikes! Zoink scoop! He was fantastic. So was that front. Jaron Reed, Boye Mafe. They were blitzing those linebackers. I mean, I think, when you got 11 sacks, multiple guys have 2 or 3 sacks. Uchenna Nwosu, Bobby Wagner, I think, had 2 sacks. Brooks, I think, got in there for a sack or 2 tonight. They were having a ball up front, man. I mean, they just had a blast. Who was the guy that forced the fumble? Oh, man, used to play with the Raiders. Mario Edwards. I mean, they were having a ball up front. I mean, we call that an old-fashioned fiesta. Fiesta. Woo! And then we call that a party right there. That's a sack part. Oprah comes out and says, you get 1, you get a sack, you get 2, you get a sack, you get 2, you get a sack, you get a sack, you get a sack. When you got 11 of them things, it's enough for everybody to get 1, right? It's enough to go around for everybody. Yikes. And it could have been worse because Your boy had an opportunity at a pick in the first half and dropped it. So it could have been worse. Then the 2 picks that he threw and the pick 6 and the 11 sack, it could have been worse. But hats off to the Seattle defense because they were struggling coming into this game. I told Bad Dog before the game, and I said this on CNN at the very end of the show. I told Bad Dog, if you can't get your shit off on this Seahawks defense, you are really a poverty franchise. You are really a charity case. If you need help, I can help. I asked this man, and he took it as a slight. And I genuinely was trying to help. How many games is this? They scored 3 points. Okay, so 0 in week 1. With 31 in week 2. 12 in week 3. And look, you can lean on the crutch of, hey, this is Dallas. This is San Francisco. Who have you played? Hey, this was Seattle, bro. They had 5 whole sacks coming into this game. Their pass defense was 29th in the NFL. These boys struggling is an understatement. And they were down 2 slot corners. That's what prompted them to put their rookie in the slot. So I ain't trying to hear no excuses. Them boys got their shit off. They might be the #1 defense in the NFL after tonight. Nah, I'm bullshit. They top 5, though. They top 5 in sacks. At least. After 11 in one game? Shit. Offensively, they still got some shit to clean up, and that Geno Smith injury could be huge. Now, we don't know the extent of it. Clearly, it was more than – I thought it was just an ankle when it first happened, and they should have called a penalty on that. Again, like Troy Aikman said, that's the exact reason for the Roy Williams rule. That's what I call it. They literally put that rule in for the Cowboys safety, Roy Williams, who used to drag people down by their, back of their jersey, the horse collar, and that nameplate, and you hurt people that way. And while he didn't drag him all the way to the ground with it, that's how he got a hold of Geno, was by the nameplate. He let it go, but he drug him down by that, and he fell on the back of his legs, and that's how you hurt people. And Geno was not happy about that shit. I mean, he picked up a unsportsmanlike conduct in the third quarter. That shit happened in the second quarter. Geno picked up an unsportsmanlike conduct in the third quarter behind that shit. He was still hot. Hopefully that's not a serious injury. And the good thing is they got a bye week. We always bitch and complain about early bye weeks until, like, Cleveland got their ass whooped because they didn't have Deshaun Watson. They got a bye next week. Geno Smith all of a sudden a little banged up. Seahawks are probably saying, damn, I'm glad we got a bye next week, right? Like when the schedule comes, like, oh, I want that early ass bye. Now you're like, man, thank goodness for that early ass bye. So hopefully he'll be, whatever it is, hopefully it's just like a mild knee sprain or even like a little contusion. Like he fell right on the knee and bumped it pretty good. And, it might swell up a little bit, but by the time they're ready to play their next game, the swelling would have calmed down considerably and he'll be fine. But this, if Geno's healthy, maybe this game isn't as close, right? Because I thought he was playing well before, the injury, obviously. Drew Lock got lucky. The Giants blew coverage, and then one of their issues all season long has been the inability to tackle. As a Commanders fan, a lot of Commanders fans want Jack Del Rio to blitz more. This is why you don't blitz more. Did you see how many guys were wide ass open with busted coverages? When you blitz a ton, it's easy to have someone get lost in coverage because you got so many guys dedicated to getting after the quarterback and not a lot of guys back in coverage. And all it takes is for one guy to lose sight of his luggage, or for one guy to not know the call, or for one guy to get distracted by some eye candy that he's supposed to not be focused in on. And now you got Noah Fant, releasing late out into the flats, and they're in a giant defender within 20 yards of this dude in any direction. So he catches it, turns up the sideline. Not only does he have the first down, but now he's got a big gain. Then they can't get him out of bounds, so he's tiptoeing down the sidelines. Next guy comes, can't get him out of bounds either. And so it takes a Herculean effort from the Giants, probably their best defender right now, the safety Xavier McKinney, to get him down at the 1 yard line. Drew Lock was supposed to come in and stink it up. He missed open receivers, and that was your opportunity to get back in the game, and then you blow coverage and then can't tackle to compound matters and make it worse. You let Drew Lock off the hook, and once they got to 14, you were like, I don't know. Giants are, boy, they're struggling to score these days. I don't know. When it was 7-3, I was like, hey, you're right where you need to be. You might beat these bastards 9-7 tonight. Who knows? With Geno out, you could get lucky. Drew Lock might throw you one. 14 is tough when you're struggling to score. 14 is tough. I've been there. I know what it's like when your team is struggling. I went a whole month without a touchdown. I've done that before, back in 19. So I know the struggle is real. Okay. I can empathize with Giants fans. I really can. I have empathy for them, but only to a certain extent, because they were real rude to me, when I tried to help. And I told them before the season started, before I knew there was going to be garbage can juice, I told them I was going to bust their shit twice. So I really don't feel bad for them, because I'm looking to bust their shit wide open twice. I'm going to be disappointed if they get us once. They're not sweeping us. Not this year. But I'm going to be disappointed if they get us once. I'm trying to bust their shit to the white meat show twice. But again, that's down the road. We got other fish to fry. Speaking of fish, they got the Dolphins next week. Good luck. You're going to need it. Seattle, nice win on the road. When you got to fly all the way across country for a ball game, it's tough. For you to come out, get the dub, take care of business, and do it in the fashion that you did tonight speaks volumes. Says a lot about what you're trying to accomplish. And, a lot of people just kind of gave the 49ers the NFC West, gave the 49ers that division and pegged them as one of the top teams in the conference, as they should. They haven't lost a regular season game in their last 14, right? And so this is a team that was in the NFC Championship game a season ago and been in the NFC Championship game probably 3 out of the last 4 years, been to the Super Bowl in that time frame as well, and back in 19. So, I mean, I get it. I totally understand. But don't sleep on these Seahawks. While they may not be on the level of the San Francisco 49ers, I don't think they're to be slept on either. With competent play at the quarterback position with Geno Smith, that touchdown pass he threw to DK, are you kidding me? That shit was gorgeous. Like, DK was kind of like, yo, I ain't getting a rock. I'm just, shit ball. Like, what, as a defender who's got their back turned, what do you do when the dude that you're guarding is looking like the ball's on the opposite side of the field, like so disinterested, like it's not coming to me, and then in a split second pushes you a little bit, boop, catches that shit, get his knees down, and it's a touchdown. That ball was pinpoint accurate by Geno. I like this Seahawks football team. I like their running back position. I like their receivers, and they still haven't really integrated Jackson Smith and Jigba yet. Love Noah Fant as a tight end option. They got multiple tight ends as well. They run it well. The offensive line, obviously, you're not going to play the Giants where they can't get pressure. You're going to have to get healthy there, and this bye week will help with that as well. You didn't have either one of your tackles. You lost your right guard relatively early in this game. You had to start playing musical chairs. At one point, I think you might have had 4 new starters on the offensive line tonight. And I didn't see Geno Smith getting sacked 11 times. So I don't want to hear any excuses from the Giants fans when you spent the first-round pick on Evan Neal. Now, John Michael Schmidt goes out relatively early in the game, and that hurts you. Now you got to start shuffling the deck with Ben Breeson going over the center. And, yeah, it gets real sticky when you got to start playing musical chairs. But the Seahawks had to do the same thing. Same damn thing. And you supposed to have this vaunted front. Azeez Ojulari was back tonight. Spent the first-round pick on Kayvon Thibodeau. Don't get me started on that vaunted defensive tackle. When's the last time? You know what we call guys like Leonard Williams? Used to be's. Man, that dude used to be nice. He used to be nice. He's a used to be. We don't call those has-beens no more. Nah. He's a used to be. He used to be nice. Now he's reduced to getting in fights with backup rookie offensive guards. That's his claim to fame now. Is fighting the backup rookie offensive guard that comes in the game because you can't get pressure on the quarterback and you can't impact the game. So now you want to fight somebody. Hey, at least Dexter Lawrence got some shit going. At least he did something, right? At least he made a little bit of noise. It was late and it didn't really do much, but that they spent resources on that defensive line. It ain't hitting on shit. It ain't hitting on a damn thing. Then, like I've already said, you got the young boys in the secondary, and I know one of them is hurt, so you had to put a Dory Jackson back there. And yeah, it's rough, man. It's a cold world. It's a cold world. Seahawks are 3-1 with the 24-3 victory. 11 sacks. Order in the court. Order in the court. 11 damn sacks. Order in the court. Y'all be quiet. Seahawks just got another sack. Keep it down. You go to the Giants side of things, and boy, they had to have this one. Think there's been a murder. I can't think there's been. I think there's been a murder. Ouch! This was one they had to have with the Dolphins next week on the road, and then the Bills on a Sunday night. I always love when the NFL takes a team that had success the year before because they love them. You know, the NFL loves the Giants. You know, the NFL loves the 49ers. They love the Bears. They love those blue blood teams. And so I love when the NFL takes one of these teams, and we've been there before. When, you know, back in 2015, we won a division and they start out the season with us on Monday Night Football versus the Steelers, and Antonio Brown twerks on us. I've been there before. Again, everything the Giants are experiencing right now, I've been through this multiple times over. So I have zero sympathy, but I have a ton of empathy for them because I've experienced it. I know what this feels like. Now, the only thing I can say is I don't know what it feels like to pay a quarterback and feel like I got bamboozled. That I cannot actually take credit for and say, hey, I know what you're going through. But it's rough when the NFL crowns you and says, oh, the Giants are back up. Hey, let's give them 4 primetime games. First week of the season against Dallas, 40-0. Ouch. At home, by the way. Week number 4, hey, week 3 on Thursday Night Football at San Francisco, 30-12. 31-12. I forgot what that one ended. It wasn't pretty. Ouch. Again. Ouch. Ouchie. Hey, it's starting to hurt a little bit. Calm down. Okay. Hey, that hurts. And let's run it back week 4 at home against Seattle. 24-3, 11 sacks, 2 picks, including the pick 6. You try to take my shit out of the socket. Ow. Come on, man. They still got one against Buffalo in 2 weeks. On the road at Buffalo on Sunday Night Football. Oh, no. Hey, let's say a prayer for the Giants. Football gods, we come to you today in your precious and holy name. Everybody bow your heads if I didn't already tell you to do that. We know you have the strength to move football mountains, to help those in need. Lord, football God, please bless those dear, diehard Giants fans like Bad Dog who have been staunch supporters of this organization for such a long time and are dying to get back to the glory years. And Lord, you've blessed them so many times. 2007, 2011. You've given them the joy that a lot of these fan bases, like my own, have been dying to feel. But Lord, we don't come to you to ask for the Giants to be a formidable team this season. No. That's not what we come in here for. Football God, We are just asking you for grace and mercy in 2 weeks against Buffalo, that thing is not over in the third quarter and Josh Allen is not on the sidelines kikiing with a ball cap on with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter in a 40-3 ball game. In every football fan's wildest imagination, we did not think we would be here with these Giants. But football God, I know, because my football God is a great God. I know you will see it in your heart to bless the Giants in 2 weeks and not embarrass them once more on national television. In the football God's name we pray. Amen. Amen. It's rough. It's rough out here in these streets, man. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. And I'll just say this. Hey, football guys. Hey, real talk. Hey, look, man. I'm just joshing. I'm just having a little fun. Hey, don't act up on me on Thursday night in front of everybody. Like, you already know we had a conversation. We talked, right? We got rid of Daniel Snyder. We here. We on good terms. Like, hey, let's keep it a buck. We good, right? We can do that. We can joke around, right? Anyway, I digress. It's rough, man. Did you see this is when you know the shit is over. Did you see the interaction between head coach and quarterback on the sidelines after the second pick, the pick six, or the first pick rather? Did you see that when he goes? So you know what's funny is I talked to Washington fans, right? And I said, here's the thing. This is why Sam Howell is legit. We never ever come back after a mistake, a pick or whatever. And he hasn't had a ton of them, right? He only had one game that was just awful, right? But I said, we never ever come back after a pick and say, what was he doing? What was he seeing? What was he thinking? Why would he make that? The first pick he ever threw in his first career NFL start against Dallas back in 2022, end of the season, week 18. He threw a horrendous pick in the triple coverage. If the first guy didn't get it, the second guy was going to get it. If the second guy didn't get it, the third guy would have got it. And you go, what the hell was that? What were you thinking? He's never done that again. Ever. We keep talking about he didn't make the same mistake twice. And some Washington fans got mad because he's still holding on to the ball. I'm like, chill, bro. Chill. That's the shit, God. Chill. He's good. We ain't never, ever came back after a pick and said, yo, what the hell was Sam looking at right there? The man literally almost threw a pick in the first half on the same type of coverage to Tariq Woolen. Almost threw a pick. And the man gets into the red zone and throws the exact same ball and it gets picked off. And his coach is like, bro, we had this same conversation in the first goddamn half when you almost threw the pick. How could you do that? He went over to him, showed him the tablet, and threw the bitch. Like, I can't even talk to you right now. You so trash. What the F, bro? Yikes! It's tough. It's tough. And they'll probably get Andrew Thomas and Saquon back next week, but might be too little too late. Might be too little too late. Hey, the NFL is a week-to-week league. We know this. We know what this league is all about. So I'm not going to pronounce them dead yet. My wife did, though. My wife already did. She's trying to send out flowers. I'm like, babe, hold on, man. Hold on now. Flowers in week 5? Come on now. She was like, where does he want them? Miami, that's where they're going next, right? Or does he want them in Jersey? at the team headquarters. I'm like, babe, week 5, chill. They're not 0-4, they 1-3. She said they play Miami at Miami, right? True. They play Buffalo at Buffalo after that, right? True. They did. I can't argue. I mean, what you want me to say? What you want me to say? Through 4 games, we can do the math on how many points they scored. You know you ain't scored shit when we can do the math on how many points you done scored after 4 weeks. Through 0 in week 1, 12 in week 2, well, 31, excuse me, in week 2, 12 in week 3, that's 43, and 3 in week 4. So they've scored a total of 46 points in 4 weeks. Again, I told these boys, and Giants fans, they jumped on my, I was just trying to help. And I was like, don't use your what was it, 14.3 points per game. Don't spend them all in one quarter, right? Spread them out over 4 quarters, right? I didn't know that average could come down even more. So now we at 46 through 4 games. So now we at 11.5 points per game. Dental floss thin, 11.5 points per game. I tried to help, but we passed the point of no return now. Anyway, here we are, and this is where we are. After giving Daniel Jones, $40 million per, and slapping that franchise, Saquon won't be back next year. That's for damn sure. He signed a little 1-year deal that I think ensured that he couldn't be franchised. No worries, they don't want you back. They don't want you back. What's the Spice Girl name? Something B. What's her name? She had that song. I think I want you back. Your love has had a deep impact. They ass don't want you back. I know they don't want you back. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. I mean, because it was funny. We were talking about the Giants as the most improved team on paper in this division in the offseason. Mel B. Thank you, Frost Below 40. Mel B. We were talking about the Giants. Bad Dog was like, man, we got all this speed, and I was really impressed with the addition of the tight end, Darren Waller, right? And then they added your boy from Ohio State that played with the Indianapolis Colts, Paris Campbell, and they were gonna get Rondell Robinson back from injury, and they drafted Jalen Hyatt, and they had all this integration and infusion of talent, and strange. Really haven't seen much of Jalen Hyatt other than the Cardinals game. Rondell Robinson looked good tonight, but it's not enough. I think Waller had 2 whole targets tonight. So much, you know what? This season is starting to change my whole outlook on the preseason. The Giants was looking like they was ready to maul cats in the preseason, even though it was like a really, small sample size. They came in, Daniel Jones was running around, they was finding Darren Waller. The shit was impressive. They went right down the field, scored a touchdown, and everybody was like, oh, shit. Here they come. Here they go. Uh-oh. Don't jump, bitch. Move. Steelers was looking like world beaters. I mean, man, Kenny Pickett was looking like he was ready to serve some teams this season. Come out week 1 and get his ass handed to him. Partner. Then go on the road to Houston and get bitch slapped. Maybe the preseason is for chumps. I still think you should play your guys in the preseason and get them a little bit of work. I don't know. I digress. I had a Giants fan mad at me last week. He was hot. And I was like, y'all better beat Seattle. He said, we will. I said, I still got some points over here for you, bro, if you need them. I raised a little bit of charity. I got 6.5 points over here, man. Let me know. He turned me down. I told him, I said, a wise man once told me, pride comes before the fall. Pride comes before the fall. Don't be prideful, man. If you need help, I can help. And he proceeded to belittle me. Talk about how much of a poverty franchise we had been. And I was like, bro, you're not hurting me. I'm like Teflon over here, bro. I got a brand new owner. I got me a quarterback now. You can't hurt me, jerk. You can't hurt me. I'm a machine, jerk. You can't hurt me. Shit's on the up and up. My arrow is pointing that way. Not you again. Go that way. We going that way. We going up. You can only help those who want help. I can't want it for them more than they want it for themselves. On the road to recovery, you got to first acknowledge that there's a problem. And until Giants fans, most of them know what's up. Most of them know. But until you're willing to admit that there's a problem, it's going to be tough. And you thought Brian Daboll was the answer. And maybe he is. Maybe he can't work with this type of incompetence at the quarterback position. Look, the offensive line is not great, but did the offensive line have the interception? Because it looked like there was good enough protection on that play. And again, maybe I need to go back and watch. But maybe he just can't work with this type of incompetence at the quarterback position. Too late. What you gonna do? Put in Tyrod Taylor? Daniel Jones be back in 3 quarters. His Tyrod to sprain his knee or his ankle. Anyway, I want to see what's going to happen with this whole situation. When do the Giants have an out of that contract? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we overreacted. Maybe Daniel Jones is he's setting us up for the ultimate comeback, and they beat the Dolphins next week, and then they're competitive against the Bills, and they turn their season around. Who knows? NFL's crazy that way. I highly doubt that, though. I highly doubt that. But you get Saquon back, you get Andrew Thomas back, and maybe things change. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section, man. Mike Jink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Louie Lou, what up, Mike? Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what's the Giants' biggest issue to you? It's the quarterback. I know the offensive line isn't great, and I know that there are some issues up front, big issues. I mean, the Seahawks came into the game with 5 whole sacks and one of the worst pass defenses in the league, and you would have thought that they were the damn 49ers with their pass rush, or you thought they were Dallas, like the way they were dominating up front. So obviously that's an issue, but they got some injuries. Obviously, John Michael Smith leaves the game. Andrew Thomas didn't play for the 3rd week in a row or whatever. And so, you get some of those guys back and it might clean up some of those. I just think it's Daniel Jones, because in this league, there will be pressure. I think it's twofold. I think one is the inability of your play caller, whoever that is, Mike Kafka or your head coach, Brian Daboll, whoever the hell is in control, the inability to put together a plan that alleviates pressure off of the offensive line and your quarterback. So that's one. Now, again, I'm not watching Giants film, so I can't say that Mike Kafka isn't putting together a great plan and Daniel Jones just isn't seeing it. I can just tell you this seems like he's holding the ball too long. Now, why is the real issue? Why is he holding on to it too long? Because you don't have time behind this offensive line to hold on to it. So now the question is, why are you holding on to it? Either it's play calling or the quarterback isn't seeing it well. That's where you got to figure out. And by the looks of the head coach, him going over and showing the tablet to the quarterback and then throwing the bitch, it tells me, nah, my coordinator dialed up a gem of a play and you had guys open. There were answers to what they did, and you just threw a damn pick six. So I'm going to say it's Daniel Jones. You can't break the pocket and still be holding the rock like it's a damn, like it's a damn water bottle and not expect somebody to come from the backside and knock it out your hand. You fumbled too many times to know. Like, you should know better. Again, leave that for the young boys. Leave that for the kids, man. You too old for that shit. Leave that for the kids who don't know no better. You done fumbled 80 times in a single season, so you know how these fumbles work from the backside. So you should be protecting the bitch. And instead, you break the pocket, you break a sack, and you think shit sweet, like ain't nobody coming from the backside to come mop your ass and knock it out your hand. Bro, you done fumbled too many times. You done fumbled exactly like that too many times. To me, the biggest problem is Daniel Jones. You ask Giants fans, they'll tell you it's the offensive line. They might even tell you it's the play calling. I'm going to tell you it's Daniel Jones. That offensive line is terrible. Don't get me wrong, but you asked me what the biggest problem was. That's Daniel Jones to me. Frankie, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Giants might be out looking to sign Uncle Rico to play quarterback pretty soon here. Hey, man, it's tough. I mean, they got Tyrod Taylor. If they ever got that down bad, they could go to Tyrod. But, I mean, you got to stick this out with Daniel Jones. You paying this man good money. Good money. You got to stick it out and hope that whatever funk he's in right now, he's able to clean it up and turn things around, right? So you can't go in a different direction. The Booty Creek Cheek Freak, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, this game had Bad Dog throwing personal insults at people. Yikes. Can we put Howell over Jones now? Yeah, we can do that. We can go ahead and do that. I'm going to wait. Personally, I like to wait on these types of things, but you already know how I feel about Sam. I made that statement before we even played a snap this year, so you already knew where my mind was at, okay? You already knew where I was at with mine, okay? But if you want to, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. I'm just not going to do it until all of the proper paperwork has been filed. I'm not going to do it, okay? It's a little early for me. These things take time, but once the proper paperwork is filed and submitted and processed, yeah, go right ahead. Knock yourself out. That's when I'll join the discussion. But I made that declaration before the season started in August. So clearly you already knew I already knew what was coming down the pipeline. I just didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Yeah, but damn, a Bad Dog was that down bad, huh? It's rough, man. It's rough. I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, "Bro, it sucks when your team sucks." And and I've told the fan base this. I've told the Washington Commanders fan base this. It ain't nothing worse than when your season is over in October. And I swear to you, I've been through it so many times. I can tell you with full confidence, it ain't nothing worse than barely making it out of September, getting to October, and realizing, man, this shit over, bro. Somebody said to me on socials, hey, he can start go ahead making draft videos. That's the worst. when people start asking you questions about the upcoming draft, hey man, what you think about this corner from Oregon? Like, it's October 3rd. It's October 3rd. And somebody's asking me a cornerback from Oregon question. How did we get here? That is the worst. Damn. I know Bad Dog got to be going through it. Joshua Ferris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joshua writes, if we can't beat the Giants, we are in serious trouble. Hey, one game at a time. I told you, we don't have giant problems. Did you see what I just did there? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. We got the Bears on Thursday. I ain't worried about nothing else. I told you I got tunnel vision when it comes to this football shit. Giants aren't till week 7. We're going into week 5. We got a big game against a winless team that we need to take care of at the crib. Quick turnaround from a tough loss. I'm focused on the Bears. Get that one, and it will be 1 week closer to the Giants, but I'm still going to be telling you, hey, I'm focused on Atlanta. So when that time comes, we can have that conversation. But I told you before the season started, I was looking to bust their shit twice. This is when they were the most improved team in the NFC, coming off of a playoff berth and a road playoff victory. I said that then, when I didn't know this now. So you already know where I'm at with mine. But yeah. Emperor Meech. This is who I was looking. This is who I wanted to hear from the most. Emperor mother effing Meech. You don't never fail me, my guy. I knew you would show up tonight. So glad to see you. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Emperor Meech writes, where are the Jones fanboys? Question mark. Where y'all at? Come out of hiding. Don't hide now. When he was out winning playoff games at Minnesota, you were out and about, loud and proud. Don't hide now. They swore he was going to prove us logical people wrong, and he's still dog shit. I'm out here looking for them like Jason Voorhees right now. Hey, get him. Get him, Emperor. Get him. Get him, get him, get him. Get him, hit him, get him. Yak him, yak him, yak him, yak, yak. Get him. Zoe Life, No Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, we got so jealous of their offseason. Yikes. I wasn't jealous. I was just like, hey, I admired what they did. I was like, from afar, I'm like, yo, that was a really tight offseason, man. Like, that's how you build upon what you just did. You went and made the playoffs when nobody expected it. You won a playoff game on the road. This is how you build on that. You go out and get Daniel Jones weapons. You go fortify that defense. You go out and get Bobby Okereke. You know, you go out and you draft some rookie corners. Like, I thought they did a really good job. No cap. I wasn't jealous. I was like admiring from afar. Like, yo, that's real. That's some real. Yo, you a real soulful dude. You know. It didn't work out that way. But it looked good on paper. Emperor Meech, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, hey, where are they at? He said, where are they, Lou? It's about to be a bloody day. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure they're in hiding right now. Witness protection program is my guess. You'll never find them. Their identities have been, changed to protect them. You'll never find them. That's my guess. I could be wrong. And they could still be out here on that hill, ready to die for what they believe in. But I don't think you're going to find them, bro. I don't think you're going to find them. I'm going to be honest with you. Rush is variety. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Giants fans were all over us after that OT loss to the Eagles. I didn't see any of them personally, because I could have made this a lot worse. But again, I'm not looking to, I tried to help, right? I felt attacked though after the Bills loss. Like they were like roaches. They were coming out of everywhere. Every crevice. I have never seen so many Giants fans in my life. And I was talking to Bad Dog, and he said, Louie T, because Lord Brunson told me before the Super Friends stream, Lord Brunson said, hey, Eagles fans, they want your ass bad. Pause. They out here looking for you, Louie. I said, hey, I ain't scared. I ain't never scared. You know where to find me at. I ain't never ran from no fight. And Bad Dog chimed in after he saw the message, and he said, hey, Giants fans want a piece of you too. I was like, damn, what'd I do to them? I was just trying to help. And they was coming. Pause. All right, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is this all about? And then Bad Dog made the little short, and I said, okay, I see what this is. Okay. Anyway, he says 3 more weeks and confidence couldn't be higher. If not for AZ, they'd be even uglier. You ain't lying, boy. They could be 0-4 right now. And obviously, with the next 2 games coming up, it could have been 0-6. They better be lucky Daniel Jones had a half of his life. Because if not for that second half against Arizona where they just absolutely collapsed, those boys are 0-4 right now. Willikers. Johnny Boy 26. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Smack City bringing the smackdown in week winners and losers, 11-5 week. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not a great record this week. This was an easy week. I went out of my way to get 6 losses. You went out of your way to get 5. So, and I told you, I wasn't ashamed of my 6. I knew what I was getting myself into. The Colts were this close. Washington was this close. I'm that close to having a 12-4 week. And if I get those 2 wins, everybody that's sporting a 13-3, it's probably going to be a 14-2. Right? There were only 2 games where you go, damn, everybody lost that one. There's only 1 or 2 of those. Like most people probably lost Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I'd say most people probably lost that game. Most people probably lost Steelers, Texans. Most people, not everybody. This isn't like last week with Dallas and Arizona where everybody lost. With Jacksonville and Houston, everybody lost. There are going to be some Houstons because that wasn't a bad pick. If you were bold enough to make that selection, it wasn't a bad pick. It's going to be some 14-2s this week. Your 11-5 ain't going to look like shit. I know my 10-6. I'm going to be close to that piss cup, but it's going to be somebody that effed up. What saved me was Tennessee. I knew they were going to win that game. They saved me. And then the Bears coming back, or the Broncos coming back and beating the Bears. Those were the 2 that saved the kid. Because without it, I would have probably been threatening that Mendoza line. But and the Bills. You know, a lot of people picked the Dolphins. They were riding high. A lot of people got blinded by that 70-point performance. And I'm like, bro, don't forget who the Bills are. Don't forget this is a home game for the Bills. And don't forget that the Bills run that division. Until the Dolphins solve that Bills riddle, ain't shit changed. So those games kept me alive, you know, but trust me, it's going to be somebody that went 14-2. It might even be a 15-1. The Bucks made sure nobody went undefeated this week. Dory Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Giants were good for the first half of last season. Been cheeks since. DJ's still the worst quarterback in the division. How is our O-line not worse than the division? I keep trying to tell y'all our offensive line ain't as bad as y'all trying to make it out to be. Y'all hard-headed. I'm not telling y'all our offensive line is great. I told y'all before the season started, we will never use the word great in our offensive line in the same sentence. But I said what we will be able to do is say, hey, this offensive line is good enough to get us by. And even if Andrew Wiley continues to be a problem, if you just take him out of the lineup, and I'm not advocating for them to do that right now. He's coming off of his best game in which he probably gave up a sack and a half or 2. He's coming off of his best game of the season so far. So I'm not willing to get rid of him yet. But even if you just took him out and put in Cornelius Lucas, you could improve the offensive line even that much more. The interior of the line is fine. And Charles Leno, I've always told y'all this. He's not terrible. He's not great. You can do a lot worse than Charles Leno. You can get by. He is a serviceable starting NFL left tackle. So, again, our offensive line isn't as bad as y'all make it out to be. Y'all, I swear, after the Bills game, I had at least 15 Washington fans tell me we got the worst offensive line in football. I said, clearly you're not watching the rest of the league. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't know if you're not giving them enough credit. Yeah, they started out hot, but it's not like they started out 10-1 and then struggled and limped into the playoffs. They started out like 6-2, struggled, but they still had to get to 9 wins, right? 9, what they end up 9-7-1, right? Like they still had to get to 9 wins. I mean, granted, they did most of the damage in the first half. I acknowledge that. They still had to get to 9, and they did that. Zoe Life, No Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? God bless Dave Gettleman. They didn't clear his stink. They passed that, man. They passed the Dave Gettleman stink. You know, they brought in the new GM from Buffalo, and Bad Dog was so excited. And he probably still feels good about that guy. Like, again, I mean, we looked at the offseason moves they made, and we were like, man, that's impressive. You know, first year he came in, he cleared the books. They were supposed to take their lumps that year, and they didn't. They won. So Dave Gettleman might be laughing at their ass like, oh, y'all thought I was the problem. Ha, 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 ha. DJ23, thank you for being a member of the MOBB for 8 months. Who writes, Giants fans clowning us about sacks. How does it feel? Or as a wise man once said, how does it feel? How does it feel? It's not nice, is it? It's not fun. It's acceptable to give up 8-9 sacks when you got a youngin, when you got a puppy. So that's part of the growing pains, right? It's not okay when you got a dude on a second contract. When we gave up 8 with Carson Wentz, that's not okay. To the Eagles last year, that's not okay. Giving up 11 in one game. What's the NFL record for most? I'm gonna look that shit up right now. I'm actually curious. NFL record for most sacks. What is the NFL record for the most sacks in a game? Okay, not individually. I got to be more specific. What is the NFL record for most team sacks in a game? The Philadelphia Eagles have the most sacks by a team in a game with 14 against the Giants. Damn, it had to be the Giants, right? In 1952. Shit. I didn't know they were even keeping the sack stat back in. Wait, first of all, I thought they weren't keeping the sack stat until like 1982 or some shit. Deacon Jones, I thought, had to keep all of his sacks, like a tally of them shits, because he keeps telling people, I'm the all-time leading sack guy, not Bruce Smith. I find that hard to believe. I don't believe that. But whatever. 11 is blasphemy with a dude on a second contract. I don't give a shit how bad your offensive line is. That's crazy talk. Pearson W3, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, even before tonight, I was wondering how much Witherspoon helped Forbes' game in college. Hopefully, he and Quan gets better. Witherspoon was outstanding tonight. And I know y'all saw that Gonzo is injured indefinitely for the Patriots. And so he's going to be out for a while. So this whole comparison between the two, y'all can can that shit for a while and just let the boy play ball, right? It's tough out here for these young boys. Witherspoon made it look easy tonight. But Seahawks fans were questioning him the first 2-3 weeks of the season before we got to tonight. So Pete Carroll loves him, and they may have found a home for him. I don't know if this is where they're going to keep him when they get all those guys back from injury, because he was only in the slot because of injuries. Artie Burns and a couple, one other dude was out, but maybe this is where his home is, in the slot. I don't know. We'll see. It's a lot harder to find a nickel corner than there is a boundary. You can find a boundary anywhere. Nickel that's the shit that's priceless. I still don't understand how they don't get paid more money. Because to me, that's the true, like, needle moving position in the secondary. It's the slot, the nickel. I could find me a boundary corner. I could play a scheme that, fits a guy that's not that fast, but got some length and some coverage and all that. I can do some different. The nickel, you got to be quick twitch. You don't have the crutch of the sidelines. I call it a 4-way go. Most people call it a 3-way go inside. Left, right, up. I also say you can come back to the ball, which is why I say it's a 4-way go. It's tough. Brandon McCloskey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, the Giants are effing terrible. We need to beat those boys this year. They have only held the lead for 19 seconds. Wait, time out. Let me get a 30 seconds. Are you kidding me? The end of the Cardinals game, this is the only time they've been leading in any game this season. Wow. I mean, when you get outscored, what they say it was? 66-7. What was it? 68-9? Couldn't have been 7. They ain't scored a first half touchdown all season long. I don't think. Pretty sure they had it. I think it's been all field goals. So I think it was like 68-9. When you've been dominated like that, 67-9, 68-9, whatever it is, I guess, yeah, you haven't been leading in the first half. You haven't been leading in any game. They have an average of 11.5. I did that math already. 11.5 points per game. Did that math. 46 divided by 4. I'm no genius, but I did go to Ohio. I'm about to say Ohio State. I did go to Old Dominion University. So my math is pretty sharp. Outscored 64-3 at MetLife Stadium. Ouch. What you do when home ain't home? I'm on my way. Oh. What you do when you can't go back home? Home is where the hatred is. Home is filled with pain, and that might not be such a bad idea if I never went home again. What happens when home ain't home? Damn, 64-3. Ouch! Ouch! Yikes. Just Andre. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, if the Giants O-line and DJ looks good against us, Del Rio needs to be fired after the game. Their offensive line is going to be different when we play them. They'll have Andrew Thomas back. They'll have their rookie center, John Michael Schmitz, back. They'll be able to properly slot some of these guys that were playing positions that aren't really their real positions. A lot of guys were, out of their element tonight because of some of the injuries. So by the time we get to them, we won't get the same Giants football team. They'll be better. Saquon will be in the lineup. They'll be a more complete team. So you can't just look at what they've done in these first 4 weeks and say, hey, we should be able to do that, because we're not going to get the same version of the Giants. But no matter what it is, and Saquon makes a huge difference. Obviously, he's much better than Matt Breida. Whatever it is, we gotta win, period. We can't lose to the Giants. Just like I'm talking about the Bears and the fact, like, if you serious about playing bonus football this year, you can't lose to teams like the Giants. Can't lose to teams like the Bears or the Falcons. These are the games that we looked at when the schedule came out and said, hey, we got to find a way to win these games. Well, I feel even more confident in saying that now. One at a time, though. Bears up next. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, all I can say is, dub. How sweet it is. How sweet it is. 3-1. Man, go enjoy your bye, man. Enjoy that bye. That's how you go into a bye right there. In style. Styling and profiling. Woo! That's how you do it. Pearson 3. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Pearson W3. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, only 3 more primetime games left for the Giants. That's not real. That's not accurate, right? They've already had 3. I think they had 4, right? And it's just that one more left against Buffalo, and then they're done, right? They don't, because whatever they got late in the season, they're gonna flex that shit. They're not putting the Giants on no more after. They've embarrassed the networks twice already. They're not doing that shit again. So Buffalo might make it a 3rd time where they get their asses handed to them, and then after that, whatever they got later in the season, if they got anything later, they're gonna flex that shit. Long as it ain't on Thanksgiving, they flexing that. We've seen the last of the Giants with that new rule in place on Monday night now, where they can flex out Monday night games. It was made with teams like the Giants in mind. After what Denver did last year, they said, "Oh no, we're not doing this shit no more." Denver messed it up for everybody. So the Giants are going to be the poster child for that this year. Denver was it last year. The Giants will be it this year, more likely than not. Vincent Coe, my guy. Vincent Cole, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, all my Witherspoon truthers unite. Man, it's a great feeling. When you publicly put your name on the line for a dude, and then he go out and have a night like that on the biggest of stages. Ain't nothing like doing it under the bright lights in the big stage of primetime football, whether it's Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, it don't matter. You're the only show in town, especially Monday and Sunday night. Thursday, it's college football on. There are other options. You could easily miss it. You can't miss it on Sunday or Monday. You all that's on. And he went out and Devin Witherspoon had him a time last night. Let me tell you, he had him a time last night. Shout out to all the Witherspoon truthers out there, man. Y'all stand up. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you once again. Who writes, what's up with JSN? I was hoping he contributes more. It's early, man. He a young boy, you know. Got to find his footing. They'll figure it out. He's talented. Like if we get to year 3 and you're still asking yourself the same questions, then you have an issue. It's early, man. We're talking about 4 games into that man's rookie season. Like, relax. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mad American says, I know Bad Dog is your guy, Lou, but I remember a lot of trash talking and him clowning Commanders fans with LB and Law like the Giants arrived. Now he's getting served a piece of humble pie. I called it. I ain't mad at Bad Dog. When you've been down for a while, like they were down bad. Remember, he told us they hadn't even been over 500 since 2016. He had told us some crazy shit like that. And last year was the first time they were over 500 since like 2016. So when you've been down bad for that long, bro, look, trust me. If we go to the playoffs and we make a little noise, do you know how obnoxious I'm gonna be? Come on, I can't knock the next man for feeling good about his squad finally, doing something. I can't knock the next man for that. What I can, be a little bit of an asshole about is the fact that I wasn't even trying to come for their lives the other week. I was trying to be nice. And he took that as a slight and he started it. I went to his video to support, and this man said, Arizona, Washington barely beat Arizona, but Washington's not any good. Wait a minute. Ma, you talking to me? Wait a minute. Why am I catching strays here? Because you lost 40-0. Why am I catching strays? It's like that? All right, it's like that. I'm worried about Bad Dog because the man was talking about folding up the tent on the season when they were down 20-0 at halftime of the Arizona. He was talking about folding up the tent. So I got nervous, like, yo, Bad Dog, bro, chill, bro. He's like, I ain't got time for this shit. I can spend time with my family. So I'm thinking, wait a minute. We might be down to Super Friend. and that still could come to fruition after the night. We might be down to Super Friend. We might have to talk Bad Dog into coming on with us. You already seen when they ain't doing shit, Bad Dog don't say nothing. He'll just sit there in the corner and just What I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I pull him into the conversation somehow, right? I'm not going to let him just sit there and say nothing. But we've already seen when his team sucks, he doesn't add much to the conversation because he feels like it's not his right to say anything. You know, that's bullshit to me. My team could be ass can juice, and I'm gonna still talk my shit. I don't give a damn. And whatever happens, I still watch ball. For the average Cowboys fan, I know more about your team than you do. To the average Eagles fan, I know more about your team than you do. If you're a real fan, now I can't know more about your team than you do. I can't. But if you're a Joe Schmo fan, I know more than you. Rush is variety. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Off subject. How getting hate because Jones got lit up? How does that make sense? Blackout in FedEx. Hashtag we outside. So let me talk a little bit. You know what? I'm gonna say that for tomorrow. No, I'm gonna talk about it right now, and hopefully I'll remember to talk, because what I always do is I'll say I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow, and then I forget. So we having a blackout, but I've heard a lot of fans are resistant. The burgundy and gold stands out there, not having that shit. So we're never going to be able to actually execute one of these effectively when you got a third of the fan base saying, nope, not doing it. I'm coming in my 21 burgundy Sean Taylor jersey. Sorry, not sorry. Coming in my white RG3 jersey. I'm not fooling with you. And I don't care. So no, it's not going down the way you want it to. We can try, but it's not going to happen the way we want it to. I had somebody tell me he was getting definitive pushback. Definitive. But yes, to your point, I haven't seen any of that, any Howe slander, but obviously when you can't defend your team, the easiest thing to do is deflect. So I'm not shocked by that, but I haven't seen it. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes? No disrespect, man. Just saying. I kept receipts, my guy. You don't have to apologize to me. I ain't gonna stop you from pulling them receipts out when the time comes. Hey, wail away, bro. It's pinata season. Take your swings, take your hats. All right. Mike, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mike writes, Giants trash. They'll still beat my sorry commies, though. I don't even think you're a real Commanders fan. I don't even think you're a real Commanders fan. You another fan of a fan base trying to come in here and troll. Get the hell out of here, man. Fuck out of here with Mike. I got a story to tell with the name Mike, too. Y'all remind me to tell that story one day. Mike. Joe Rockhead, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Bad Dog is the Wonder Twins of the Super Friends. Hey, chill, man. Chill out. Chill out, man. Chill out, Joe Rockhead. Brian Haynes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Brian writes, you see how pissed Daboll was at Daniel Jones? He threw the tablet on the ground. Yeah, that was my favorite part of everything. That's when I knew he was like, man, I can't deal with this incompetence, this level of incompetence. I can't deal with it. Because you should have seen his face when he came off the field when he almost threw the first pick. And Daboll looked incensed, like, bro, what are you doing? What did you see? And Jones tries to explain it, and Daboll's looking at him like, what? No. And Jones just walks away like, man, I ain't got time for this shit. And then he goes and makes the same mistake in the red zone. And that's why Daboll probably was so pissed. I literally just talked to you about that not even a quarter ago. We had this same damn conversation. No, not even a quarter and a half ago. This was in the second quarter. This was early stages of the fourth. We just had this conversation about you not doing that shit. And then you go and do it again. He was pissed. Spence Calise, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, no excuses if we don't sweep them SOBs. look, we'll never hear the end of it from Giants fans if we don't sweep them. We'll never hear the end of it from LB and Eagles fans if we don't beat them. You know? And again, I don't care how it looks. I just want to beat them. But I want to see what we do against the Bears. I just want to win. Winning is the most important thing. I want to start pummeling teams, though. Like, I know our defense isn't nearly as dominant as Dallas, and there aren't many that are in the league right now. Like, how many defensive touchdowns do they have this season already? Like, this shit is crazy. They probably got more defensive touchdowns than the Giants do offensive touchdowns this season. That might be a stretch. It's close. It's closer than one might think. Giants scored all of their touchdowns in that Cardinals game. Did they score any touchdowns against the 49ers? I think they scored one. I think they scored one touchdown, went for two, and I don't think they got it. But Cowboys got what? They had 2 defensive touchdowns in this game against the Patriots. They had one against the Giants. Then they had one against the Jets too. I'm not sure. I don't know if they scored a defensive touchdown against the Jets. I don't know. I thought they did, but that defense is something else. It may not look like that, but I just know we need to beat them. This is one of those years where you sweep the Giants. If you're in a division and you really worth a damn, this is one of those years. Like the Eagles sweep them every year, so I'm not talking to them. Giant and the Cowboys. I'm really just talking about us. The Cowboys usually sweep their ass too. I'm talking about us. This is one of them years where you treat them like Daniel Jones not even in the lineup, and you just sweep them. But we need to beat him. Tired of Giants fans, leaning on that crutch of you guys can't beat Daniel Jones. Okay, well I already told you before the season started what my objective was: bust his shit twice. So I got no sympathy whatsoever for them. I'm looking to end their shit with an exclamation point in week 7. And then I think we see them again in like week 11 or 12. It's got to be 11. 12 is Thanksgiving. Bust their head open to the white meat show then too. The key one is the first one because that's at MetLife. They come back to Washington. I'm trying to eulogize their ass at that point. I mean, their season be long gone and dead already. My wife's sending flowers now. We in week 5. Joe Rockhead, Jay, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Daniel Jones sacks made me hashtag Giant Lives Matter. Yikes. It was bad. It was bad. And the thing, it could have been like 15 if he didn't break out of 2 or 3 of them jakes and barely get back to, past the line of scrimmage on a 1-yard gain. And one time he spun again and just got 1 yard. Like, imagine if he didn't, imagine on that bootleg on 4th down and Boye Mafe don't come too damn far inside and then give up contain. He don't make it outside of him either, right? It could have been 15. They could have set the record tonight. Real talk. They could have set, if Daniel Jones wasn't as elusive as he is, they could have set the record tonight. It was rough. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mad American writes, hey, yo, that thumbnail the NFL used for Giants versus Seahawks highlight video, they wildin'. I'm weak, bro. Sorry, just had to point it out. I haven't seen it yet. I can't even imagine what it is. Maybe it's the fan that I posted on socials. That shit was hilarious. Maybe it's Daboll throwing the tablet. I can't imagine what it would be. I would imagine it would be a Seahawk player. That's my guess, but who knows? Eric Sunderland, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Eric, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes 13-3 this week, winners and losers, and weekly pool. I knew I had some good picks this week. I spoke it into existence. If you got 13-3, then you won the weekly pick'em pool because I can't imagine anybody else having less than 3 losses. So if you got 13-3 on the weekly pick'em, you probably won. This was really an easy week if you just did the right thing. I went outside the box hoping that it would yield me dividends, and it almost did. Again, Commanders almost pulled it off. Colts almost pulled it off against the Rams. I just came up short. I didn't, I thought I didn't know Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play. It's almost not fair. Somebody hit me up on Sunday like, come on, man, let me change my pick. I'm like, bro, I can't do that. Because if that's the case, everybody that picked Cleveland thinking Watson was going to play would want to change their pick. And that ain't fair to them. We all got to deal with the fact that we turn our picks in on Thursday. That shit sucks. I know. Ever since the NFL went to these Thursday night games, because I've been doing these football pools for longer than some of y'all been alive. And there used to be a time when there wasn't a Thursday night game, so you got to turn your sheets in all the way up until Saturday in certain instances. But we used to have ours in by Friday. But turn them in Thursday. At least Friday, you got a sense of who may or may not play. I knew Watson wasn't playing by Friday. It was too late. I had already gave y'all my picks. I couldn't go back then. Once they elevated their practice squad quarterback to the active roster, they told me all I needed to know. His ass ain't playing. Sovereign Legacy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, hey, Lou. What's up? Just wanted to say you got me dying over here. That prayer was gold. Hey, man, just trying to help out a fellow family member, man, in need. Just hope the football guys don't punish us Thursday night. I said the same thing. When I was saying the prayer, I was like, in my head, I was like, football guys, man, y'all know where my heart at. Don't have this come back on me 3 days later, 2 days later, right? I think anything can happen, obviously, right? I think Sam and I just got too much confidence in these boys, right? But anything can happen. It's the NFL. Like, you're never safe, Mad American. I mean, you saw what happened to the Chiefs last night? They almost threw up a 17-point lead, bro. That shit was tied, and I'm not gonna lie, they probably needed a little bit of help from the officials to get that dub. So anything can happen in this league. I really was thinking about that first Jets game against Buffalo tonight when Seattle was letting the Giants hang around. Like, you're going to F around and lose this game. You think this shit a game? No, I always say this. When you playing a team that's struggling to score, know thy opponent. You don't need to go for it on 4th down and 1. Kick the field goal. How many points are they really going to score tonight? If you got a field goal on the death, do that. They not going to beat you if you just keep putting points on the scoreboard. But by you passing up opportunities, then kicking a long field goal, and I said, you're going to mess around. They're going to go down here, get a field goal or score a touchdown. Worse, score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, and have this bitch be 14-11. You're going to mess around, lose this goddamn game. I was thinking that shit. And then the pick six happened, and then all of that shit just went away. That quick. That fast. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, just curious, do other divisions hate each other as much as the NFC East teams hate each other? Of course they do. Of course they do. Absolutely. Packers fans can't stand Vikings fans, can't stand Bears fans, vice versa. Chiefs fans can't stand Chargers fans, can't stand Raiders fans, can't stand Broncos fans, vice versa. Hell yeah. When I first got on YouTube, like, I keep telling Bad Dog, bro, you didn't invent these roundtables. These shits were happening back in the day with the NFC South. That's the first division I saw doing these. A long time ago, probably like a decade ago. And they would do these rounds, but that was for the TTC. For those of you who've been around long enough, you know what the TTC is. And it wasn't about like coming together and actually talking about the games and the teams. It was more about just coming together and talking shit. But they still have roundtables for it. And those teams hate each other. You go down south, Atlanta can't stand New Orleans. Can't stand New Orleans. And vice versa. Like, the hatred exists. When you play a team 2 times a year, there's a hatred that develops that doesn't go away. So, yeah, other divisions can't stand their teams, the other teams in their division, just as much as we can't stand ours. Absolutely. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I don't know if it's because I'm biased, but our team does something good, no credit given. Other teams in the East does something good, amazing performance. I think that's a little bit of us being sensitive to that because we felt like with Daniel Snyder as our owner, we were never going to get credit for anything that we did. But also, you got to keep in mind, how often is it that we actually do shit that's worthy of being talked about? Like, we had 2 opportunities the last 2 weeks to put ourselves in the consciousness of NFL fans everywhere. Beat Buffalo, go to 3-0, be an undefeated team. They can't help but talk about you if you one of 4 undefeated teams left in the NFL. We blew that. Not only did we blow it, everybody that said, hey, they're not that good and Buffalo's going to prove that, we vindicated them. You know, we made them feel like, yeah, I told y'all. Then you got a chance to go to Philadelphia, do what you did last year, and put yourself on the map. Be the first, knock off an undefeated team, go to their building for the 3rd time in 4 years and beat them 2nd year in a row, put 30 on their skull for 2 years in a row, and you do everything except get the win. So again, while you want the accolades and the adulation and the attention, you got to go out and do things that warrant that. Beating Denver isn't going to do that. Beating Arizona isn't going to do that. Beating the Bears on Thursday night, we can beat the Bears 67-0. That ain't going. I mean, it'll have people talking, obviously, but that's not going to do it. It's the Bears. Just win the game. That's all I care about. Just win. Continue to build confidence. And the next time we see Philadelphia, next time when we see the Giants, next time we see Philadelphia, we'll be a different team. Just keep winning. Win ball games. That's what we need to do. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mad American writes, thumbnail is Seahawks players slamming Danny J. LOL. Oh, I'm about to say it got to be the Seahawks. Probably getting a sack, but it's got to be a Seahawk player, right? And with the night that they turned in, slamming him is pretty on point, right? That's pretty apt of what the night was. When you get sacked 11 times, that's what the thumbnail should be. One of those 11 sacks. John Perez, my guy, JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I had no interest in watching this game, to be honest, but my God, the G-Man stink. Bad Dog just went apeshit too. Oh, and Barkley is gone after 2023. Oh, it's over. I didn't think he would be back anyway. After they didn't give him the contract, he signed that 1-year deal and also, got a no franchise tag clause in that 1-year deal that he signed. So I knew it was over. Only way he would be back is if he had another year like he had last year, where he was literally like 60% of the, Giants offense. And, nobody ever really truly wants to leave the team that drafts them, especially if you're a 1st-round pick. But, shit happens, and I think he's done in New York. Not that he wants to be done, but because I think they're done with him. They never wanted to give him that long-term deal, which is why they did it. And now he's hurt again. And if I'm Brian Daboll, part of why we suck right now is because you were hurt. And that's not his fault. But you can't ignore the fact that over the last 3 years, he's missed 24 games or whatever that number is. You can't forget that. You can't just erase that. That exists. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Packers versus Raiders is next week's Monday Night Football. Doo-doo fest. Yeah, that I saw that. I was like, that's nasty. What can you do? Again, what did I tell y'all when the schedule came out? I said, why are they feeding us Giants and Seahawks week 4 Monday night? Who needs to see that? I don't. I said, Eagles Commanders is a much better week 4 contest. What are we after the show we put on last year? You don't want to run that back, but you're gonna run back Bears Commanders on Thursday Night Football like somebody was clamoring to see that shit. But you got a great game on Monday night from the Commanders and Eagles last year, and you didn't want to run that back on Monday night, week 4. Help me understand that. Where's the logic in that? But but we want to see Tampa Bay and Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. No, you want to see that though. Come on, man, give me a break. So I'm not shocked that, and the crazy part is now that Vegas has this stadium and everybody wants to go to Vegas. So we already got one Sunday night game in Vegas already with the Steelers and the Raiders. Now you got, the Packers going to Vegas on a Monday night. And I bet you I think, who's playing? Aren't the Raiders and the Chiefs playing on Black Friday or some shit like that? I don't know if the Chiefs are at home or if Vegas is at home, but yeah, like they're gonna keep giving us these Raiders games, and a lot of them are gonna be in Vegas because these broadcast teams are like, yeah, we'll go to Vegas. Yeah, the Raiders might suck, but we don't mind going to Vegas because you damn sure ain't going there for the Raiders because they asked. And who didn't think it was gonna be asked before the season started? Jimmy Garoppolo makes them a contender all of a sudden? Yeah, right. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mad American writes, just feels like the NFC East rivalries are bigger. They feel bigger because you're a part of them as a fan. And there is an East Coast bias, especially if you live on the East Coast, but it don't matter where you live at. There's an East Coast bias. ESPN covers what? The East Coast teams more than any other team. So when Dallas, it doesn't really matter if Dallas is good or not. They're going to talk about Dallas more than anybody. But now that the Eagles are good, they're going to talk about them a ton. When the Giants were good last year, they were talking about them. There's an East Coast bias. So, of course, it feels bigger, but that doesn't change the fact that Bucks fans can't stand the, Falcons and the Saints, especially the Saints. After what the Saints have done to them for years, even with Brady there, they used to torment them dudes on national television. Those rivalries burn just as strong and bright as the NFC East rivalries. But, look, because we're in it, we'll swear that ours is the best. And, I mean, I'll rock with that. I feel like our division is the best. But that's nor here nor there. Jamal Hamlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jamal, thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Lou, Giants over there thinking they can make up grounds with us. They got another thing coming. This year, anybody can get it. NHO. You already know. You already know what it is. Anybody can get it. Anytime, anywhere. All right. Like I said, these Giants fans for too long have been spoiled by the fact that we've had trash at the quarterback position, which has allowed them to beat us over the last 4 or 5 years, despite them being bad themselves. They could always count on, hey, we could beat the Commanders, though. We got a quarterback now. All bets are off. And you don't have Eli Manning, because even when we had Kirk, they still would beat us because they had Eli Manning. Well, you don't even got that no more. So I'm 100% confident that tide is about to turn in our favor. A lot of shit's about to change. We up in this bitch. Yeah, we outside now, in case you ain't know. Anyway, I digress. That was the last super chat. Greatly appreciate you guys. That was a fun night. Didn't expect it. I did expect the Seahawks to win, but I didn't expect it to turn out the way that it did. And boy, I'm gonna have to check on Bad Dog and see how he's holding up, man. Y'all told me he was going off. I might have to go over there and check out that video just to. I'm pretty sure that video is gonna do numbers just out of sheer curiosity. People like myself who generally don't watch, his stuff. Every now and again, I'll peek my head in, say what's up, watch a video, every so often. But this one here, I probably gotta go check it out just to see if this man's okay. I might have to text him and just be like, yo, you good? You all right? He can't be. Not with the Dolphins, at the Bills the next 2. He can't be okay. Can't be. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mad American writes, I said in the MOBB yesterday how I feel about this defense. I'd rather have the 09 defense over this defense. They weren't bad. I think your anger is pointed in the wrong direction because none of those defenses, with the exception of maybe 04, is the only defense that I think is more talented than the defense we have right now. It's 04. 04 was stellar. You always talk about 05. 05 wasn't more talented than 04's defense. 09 is definitely not anywhere even remotely close or in the same vicinity as this defense. They might have been better coached, and the game was different then. It's a different, game in the NFL than 09. That 09, you put that 09 defense in today's NFL, they get their ass whooped, get their ass torched. This defense that we have right now is way better. They gotta make more plays. That's what it all boils down to. They got to make more plays. And I think like against teams like Philadelphia, I just think they was on the field for too much. I talked about that on the CNN, especially on the D line. So anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Monday Night Football Overtime. Seahawks get the win 24-3 over the hapless Bishop Sycamore Giants. Seahawks are now 3-1 on the season. Giants are now 1-3. Seahawks head into their bye. They needed. Geno Smith did injure his knee tonight. Don't know the extent of that injury. I really felt bad for Jamal Adams. You haven't played in over a calendar year. He even, I read an article where he was contemplating retirement. That's how frustrated he was with the injury that he had sustained. And you battle your way back, and then 9 snaps in, you get a concussion. And the independent neurologist is telling you can't go back in the game. That's rough. But my guess is, this bye week couldn't have come at a better time for him so that he wouldn't have to miss another game, and he can get back out there with his boys the next time the Seahawks hit the field, more likely than not. But anyway, I digress. Eps CX, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Ram win looks better. McVay still a top 4 coach. It was a good win, but it would have been more impressive had they just not blown a 23-point lead. Like, had they won that game going away, 33-17, I'd have been like, all right, Rams, I see you. You won play here or there away from beating Cincinnati and being 3-1 right now. And we have a whole different outlook on them. But to blow that lead and then, they won the game and that's all that matters. But to blow that lead and then have to come back and win it in overtime, it kind of changes the way that it took a little luster off of that victory, to be honest with you. But they're going to get back Cooper Kupp here. And with Puka Nacua doing what he's doing, you still got Van Jefferson, the emergence of Tutu Atwell. Rams could be a lot better than I think. And I said that already. I walked it back a little bit after they lost to Cincinnati. And that's why I didn't pick them. That's why I went with Indianapolis. But I don't know. Maybe the Rams are a little bit better than we think. They got the Eagles next. That's gonna be a great test. I think you get Cooper Kupp back this week for that game. If I'm not mistaken, he'll be back. And if he's back, can they be competitive? I don't expect them to beat Philadelphia. I wouldn't be shocked though, because the Eagles defense isn't very good. What's funny to me with Eagles fans, I save that for tomorrow. Me and LB getting up tomorrow. I'm gonna say that for tomorrow. Mad American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, this D is talented, but have they executed to what they can? I put that on JDR. I'm guessing is what you were trying to say. That's why I was hoping for a breakdown of his scheme. I mean, again, it's a zone match scheme, right? So you're playing an area, and when somebody comes into your area, you then pick them up man to man for the most part, right? So it's a complicated scheme because there are rules to it. It's not just a guy runs in your area, you run with him. It's, certain things. First guy out, you take the first guy out. If one goes in and 2 goes up, now you got 2, right? It's like different rules and principles. So it's hard to kind of explain all of it. But at the end of the day, it's not just the secondary. It's not just the linebackers. It's not just the D line. It's all of it. All of it. So, anyway, I digress. I thank you guys for joining me tonight. That was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed myself tonight. As much as I enjoyed watching that game, and man, I shared a couple of nice laughs watching that thing unfold the way it did tonight. The post game was probably just as enjoyable. I probably shouldn't chop this up and put it out there. I probably shouldn't do it. I've done enough. The Seahawks have done enough. Daniel Jones has done enough. I don't think I need to do any more. They're already down. I don't feel the need to kick them anymore. I don't think I'm going to do it because I could put the prayer out there. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you what, though. If they come after me for any reason whatsoever, and I feel attacked, I got one in my back pocket. I'll just say that. Anyway. Diggity Dank. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Diggity Dank writes, the first 15 seconds of Bad Dogs post game is silence. I got to go check it out. I got to go check it out, man. I got to go check on my guy. He's probably doing pretty bad right now. He's down bad right now. He's definitely down bad right now. Anyway, I digress. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. Me and LB supposed to be getting up tomorrow to do a little recap of the Eagles game. I don't know if we're going to do it live or we're going to just record something real quick, put it up over on the NFC East Super Friends channel, whatever happens. Be on the lookout for that. I'll just tell you that much. Anyway, I digress. Seahawks 3-1, Giants 1-3. Seahawks get it done 24-3, head into their bye feeling really good about themselves. And they got a really soft schedule. You know, they talked about the games that were coming up. This Seahawks team, I think they're going to be in the mix with San Francisco. That's a big game for the 49ers coming up against Dallas. If they were to slip up, Seattle's right there in first place with them, you know, or they'll be a half game behind them because they wouldn't have played 5 games. But still, you know, Seattle will be rooting like hell for Dallas this upcoming weekend. That's for sure. Anyway, I digress. You guys get out of here. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless Giants fans. God bless. Good night.